I have one question I've never been able to shake. Why did that work on me? I've asked it at midnight with a book I couldn't put down. I've asked it in the margins of manuscripts that I am editing. And I've asked it when I'm staring at my own pages, trying to figure out what was missing. It's the question that makes you a reader who writes, and it's probably the one that brings you here. Just in case you're new around these here parts, my name is Dana. I'm a USA Today bestselling author. I'm a developmental editor, and I am the chief storyteller at Danger Tales. Y'all listen, today is like a mixed bag because to keep it a buck, your girl is a one-woman operation. Give or take some help around here because I'm not totally by myself. But it also means that when I'm working on projects, I've got to make them work double duty. And I thought you would want to know what I am working on. So I'm bringing back a little bit of that feel of when I was reading the newsletter to give you a welcome to a new experience that I am creating on Substack. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. It's going to be a little bit about what's behind the story beneath the story. So go ahead, get comfortable, grab your beverage. You know how these chatty videos do. And I'm going to go through this post and I'm going to do some riffing here and there. So y'all, if you see me reading, pretend like you don't see it. Can we do that? Can you keep it a buck with your girl? Okay? Because I'm already coming on here with a baseball cap. It's at the end of the day. Y'all, it's almost 9 o'clock at night. We're going to get this done. And I'm so excited. I'm really, really excited about this project. So let's go ahead and dig into this post. So what this is. The story beneath the story is a weekly publication from a developmental editor and USA Today bestselling author for fiction writers who want to understand why stories do what they do to us. Most writing newsletters stop at what to do. This one goes underneath why it works. I have been wanting to do this forever. So if you are here, welcome. Join me on this journey. If you know me, I mean like really know me, you've been in coaching sessions with me, you've been in a Q&A with me, you've been in one of my courses, you know that low key, this is one of my superpowers, okay? And I love studying stories. It is at the heart. We even have a book club where it is the Storytellers Book Club. We get underneath stories. We get all up and through them. And I've been wanting a space where I can take what I'm always talking about with students, what I write a little bit about here and there in my normal newsletter, and to be able to just nerd out a little bit. It's going to be a little bit longer than my normal newsletter, so it will be normally separate, except for maybe this week. But I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and now here we are. So every issue starts with something I notice. A pattern, a question from a coaching session I couldn't stop turning over, something I watched a story do to a reader that I couldn't explain yet. Then I follow it all the way through. The mechanics driving the response, the emotional architecture that made a transformation land, the thing happening below the surface that the writer felt but couldn't name. Y'all, I love a good moment where it's like, wait a minute. It's almost like when you're tasting a dish and you taste the seasoning, but you can't quite put you like that's what this is, okay? So you'll leave every issue seeing something you didn't see before. And I'm really working hard on that. Like I've already started working on the first issues. And my goal is to help you make connections. I find that that is one of those places where, again, I shine when I'm working with students, is helping them to make connections so that when we experience something, we can connect with what happened and then How do we get it on the page? And that is what this is all about. And so every issue, you will see something you didn't see before, and you'll walk away with the story card to bring straight back to your manuscript. I've been very intentional about ensuring that while I am having my, yeah, I don't know why I'm really loving the word frolic. Like I'm frolicking, okay? I am having my moment. It does not escape me that I want you to take this back to the page. I want you to be able to write better stories. I want you to have fun when you're writing your stories. And so that is why I created the story card. And you'll be able to take that story card at the end of every essay, and you'll be able to come back to your writing with another tool for your current manuscript or for you to put in your toolkit for later. So who this is for? This newsletter is for fiction writers at every stage who want more than craft instructions. My world lives mostly in romance and fantasy, and that is where my examples will usually come from, but the mechanics underneath stories work across every genre. If you write fiction, you're in the right place. So this is for the curious beginner. You love stories and you're starting to write your own. You want to understand what makes them work before you commit to rules that you don't fully understand. That's the smart way to begin. Story instinct builds from the ground up through understanding the patterns underneath those structures before you sort of codify it into rules you follow without knowing why. And I think that's one of the things that happens a lot, especially in romance. Is it very structured? Absolutely. But when you understand what's underneath, that is when you really can make it your own, that you can build a brand that is very distinct. And it makes it so you can have a great time because it's easier to break rules when you understand what those rules are, right? This is also for the active working author. You are writing, finishing, publishing. You've got the basics. What you want now is depth. The kind of pattern recognition that makes your next book hit differently than your last. This is where you sharpen what you already have and build a recognizable brand through your stories. And this is also for the returning writer. You've stepped away and you've finding your way back. You don't want tips and tricks, even though you might need them. You may not be looking for them. Right? You want something that reminds you why stories matter. And it gives you a tool you can use today. Every issue ends with exactly that. The problems that brought you here. Now, nobody subscribes to a newsletter just because. Like, we don't have time for that, right? You're here because something in your writing life isn't clicking. You've been looking for that missing piece. Here are some of those things that I hear a lot. Problem one, you feel, your story feels off, okay? And that the feedback you are getting is vague and you don't have the words to describe what's missing. Problem two, you followed the craft books, but your story feels incomplete. You hit the beats and the story still doesn't have that rhythm that makes it settle in your chest. And you don't know how to get it there. Problem number three, you know everything that happens in your story, but you're not sure what any of it means or how to make it your own. Problem number four, a book wrecked you and you immediately needed to know how the author did it. That question won't leave you alone, and you've never had a real place to take it. Problem five, Something keeps slipping out of your scenes and you can't catch it. You're doing everything right, but you keep hitting this wall and it makes you feel like a bad writer, or maybe this writing thing isn't for you. Problem 6. Readers stay with characters who do terrible things and abandon characters they can't understand. You know exactly why your characters is the way that they are. The question is whether that understanding made it to the page. And I'm going to do a nice little pause here. Y'all know how we do. This one right here, this is when you really can level up your character development game. This is really where you can stretch yourself as a writer and you can really find stories and characters that connect you to your readers. Let's continue. Problem 7, you can feel when a story is working. You just can't see inside it well enough to do it yourself. Problem 8, the transformation doesn't feel earned, and doing more isn't fixing it. The arc is there, but something underneath it isn't. Problem 9, you got the response you wanted, but you're not sure you did it on purpose. And if you can repeat it in future books. I'm just going to let that sit with you. Problem 10. More information isn't the problem. You've read every book, taken every course. What you need isn't more rules. It's a different way of seeing. So what you get in every issue of the story beneath the story, every issue gives you 2 things: the essay, and this is where the thinking lives. I take something I've been turning over, a pattern I couldn't stop seeing, a question a writer asked me that I haven't been able to shake, a moment in a story that did something I needed to understand, then I follow it. Not to give you rules, but to show you what's happening underneath. And every free subscriber gets the full essay. The story card is the second part, and this is the tool that emerges from the essay. Now, this is not a summary, but a working tool in whatever format the thinking calls for. So sometimes this will be a checklist or a diagnostic framework, a pattern breakdown, a decision guide, something you can pick up and bring back to your manuscript. And I really wanted wiggle room here because we're going to be exploring all types of parts of story, character, dialogue, tropes, mindset and thinking, ideation, brainstorming. And I wanted to have a lot of wiggle room to give you exactly what's going to help you take what I'm sharing and almost like make it objective or give you a framework to be able to walk through implementing that into your story. Story cards are the paid subscriber benefit. Over time, you're not just getting individual cards, you're building a deck, a growing story thinking toolkit that becomes more useful the longer you stay. Again, this is another one of those moments that I'm truly being intentional. If you know something about me, actually, you know this. You know it. I love frameworks. I love checklists. I love templates. If you were to ever look over at this pile that is stacked up over here, it is full of them because it is how my brain processes information, and I am going to be sharing that with you. Some will be old, some will be new, some will be unique to this experience, some will be based on having to create something for a client, and all of it will have a place to live now with this newsletter. Again, your girl is pumped. So, paid subscribers are building from the ground up. The early cards form the foundation of what will eventually become physical card decks, organized by type and designed for repeated use. Again, just anytime you see stuff over here, think story cards. The archive is where the deck gets built. Every card is a piece of a much larger body of work, and you're in at the beginning. Who I am. I'm Dana Pittman, developmental editor, USA Today bestselling author in both romance and paranormal romance, and I'm the founder of Danger Tales Writers. For 20 years, I've been sitting with stories, reading them, editing them, writing them, coaching writers through them, and asking the same question every single time. Why does this work? And many times, why doesn't this work? This is not about what should you do differently, what is actually happening underneath the story that makes a reader respond the way they do. What creates that emotional connection that keeps someone reading into the wee hours of the morning when they know they should be in bed? What makes a character forgivable? What makes a story linger long after the last page? Y'all, I have been working through those questions out loud in rooms for years, in workshops, in coaching calls, in editorial notes that probably get longer than they need to be. But the thinking itself kept disappearing because it was gone when the session ended. This newsletter is where it finally lives in public, permanently, in my own voice, where it can accumulate into something that lasts. That matters to me more than I can say. So, are you ready to go deeper? If this feels like the beginning of something, if you find yourself thinking, I want to learn how she sees a story, here's where that goes next. Danger Tales Writers, DTW. It is my writing community for fiction authors who are serious about their craft. It's where the essay thinking gets applied directly to your manuscript, your story problems, your writing life as it is. If you're ready, come find us there. And if you're not yet, stay here. Or make sure you go over and find me on Substack. Keep reading. And whether you're watching this on Substack, welcome, or you are watching this on YouTube, I will have the link in the description. Or if you are watching this from my normal newsletter at Danger Tales, you'll find the link here. I'm going to tell you, kick it with your girl and keep reading and let the thinking accumulate. The writers who win are the ones who stay in the game. Welcome to the deck. All right, your girl is out, and I will either see you back here or I will see you in DTW. Take care, and as always, happy writing. Goodbye. I've been down so